Good morning. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. Welcome. My name is Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And you may have guessed it, I go live on the internet. Why do I do that? Well, I'm answering your traffic and police questions Monday to Friday, and today is FriYay. I hope you are ready for the weekend. Lots of things that are amazing going on here in the city of Toronto and around the world, I imagine, because it's the weekend, and that's what happens on the weekend. Amazing stuff. We have a lot specifically going on, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's talk about what's going to happen over the next hour. Well, I am going to look for your questions in the chat, in the Q&A function, depending on what platform you're coming in at, and I will make my very best efforts to get to all the questions. Now, I say that knowing that I'm not going to get to everybody. So if you don't get your questions answered, it's not because we don't love you. It's just because there's a lot. What am I going to tell you about? First, let's start with where can you watch us? Because that's important. Currently, we're broadcasting on TikTok, right there. I'm pointing to different cameras because we're on Instagram live right there. And then on the big camera up there, we are talking to folks on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Now, I have to tell you right off the bat that if you're on Twitter, we do love you, but we can't hear you. And that's because there's a problem with the API. Ever since Periscope went down, they turned it to Twitter Live. We don't see the integration of your chat questions coming through on our integrated screen. We do see from everybody else. Okay, that's out of the way. I've given my big warning spiel about how to get a hold of us. So if you're on Twitter and you want to talk to us, ask us questions, please join us on Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube or on Twitch at Traffic Services. Something you should know, the YouTube page has copies of everything. Every live is stored there. We have playlists for this year, last year, and also our podcast, because we have a podcast that goes out about once a week. It's called TPS Traffic Jam. It's available anywhere podcasts can be downloaded, and additionally, it's available on YouTube in a video format. Although, maybe we need the video format on the other platforms. Okay, let me just see here. Oh, I can actually test my audio levels and see how things are sounding. It's weird. I feel awkward if I'm not wearing my headphones. Is that a radio DJ thing that I feel like I need to wear headphones? Am I making myself a radio DJ by wearing one? Do I look better with headphones? Maybe I need to change the shape of my head. Okay, it's June 24th and Vision Zero. We talk about Vision Zero every episode of Ask a Traffic Cop. And who are they? What are they about? Where are they today? So it's a dedicated group of officers who focus on enforcement. They are focused on the big four. That's changing driver behavior one ticket at a time, no hugs issued, just the tickets, and that's because tickets tend to drive a change in behavior. Nobody likes tickets, nobody wants them, but people still engage in the behavior that leads to them. It's breaking the law. What kind of behavior are we looking for? It's the big four. That's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and of course impaired driving. And they issue a lot of tickets because there's a lot of folks who choose to break the law. It's a conscious decision, and they make it. There you go. I was listening to the radio yesterday, 10:10 in the afternoon, and they were sharing. What was it? It was sharing your best excuses for getting out of a ticket. I had to call in because I was like, this doesn't work. I don't take excuses. Excuses don't work with me. But it was an interesting segment to talk about all of the things that people use to justify why they do the things they do. And the truth is there's never an excuse for breaking the law. Nigel, dropping in by LinkedIn, says, good morning. Hey, Sean, how's it going? My good friend. Kayla Draconis says, greetings and salutations. Got to leave at 10:30, though. Well, we will try and keep you entertained for the 30 minutes that you can spend. Let me see here. I've got someone trying to sell me followers. We don't do that. But I accidentally advertise them. Let me block them from our Restream chat. Yeah, we get all sorts of people who seem to think we want to buy followers. Question coming in from the TikTok chat, and that is, how loud is too loud when it comes to an exhaust system? That's a good question. How loud is too loud? Well, there's two different things. One of them is going to be based on the fact that, this is going to be loud in a second, hang on, mute that. The first thing is that if you don't have a muffler or if you don't have a street legal exhaust system, you are going to be too loud, but you're more importantly not going to have a functioning or legal exhaust, so you can be charged for driving without a muffler. Even if your muffler isn't functioning properly, it's not a muffler. Muffler's muffle. Just a can that says muffler on it doesn't meet the requirements of the Highway Traffic Act. If you modify things and put straight pipes and bypass emissions control, you don't have catalytic converters, those are different charges. But let's talk about noise on its own. It's a charge under the Highway Traffic Act that specifically states that you shall not create unnecessary noise. Now, here's one that usually twists people's heads around, and that is unnecessary noise isn't only when it's emitting from your muffler or lack thereof. It could also be your engine, your your stereo, your horn, what else makes noise? Squealing your tires, all of those things are covered under there. So what is too much? Well, anything that's unnecessary, which is a pretty large range. It could be from, me feeling the bass of your stereo system as I stand next to your vehicle. It could be that I'm on the street down, 100 feet. Well, 100 feet would be an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying? It depends. And it's going to be up to the officer to articulate that when it comes to supporting the charge that they've laid in court. All right. By the way, I apologize to all those that are currently on TikTok. Q&A is still broken. No matter how many times we update the app, it seems that Q&A is not going to work. And I put multiple reports in to TikTok and hope that it gets fixed because it does make our life easier. What I have been doing is trying to surf the chat and do my best, but inevitably I will not be as organized as I am normally. So if you want to sort of cut through some of the mess, if you're feeling like you can't get your question heard and you want to come over and subscribe to us on YouTube, please feel free to do that. There are fewer comments there. It may be easier for you to be seen, but if you want to hang out on TikTok, this is the place to be. Let me just open up a Word document because otherwise it scrolls so fast my eyes can't track it. Try and pick out the good questions and organize them in a chat window here. Okay. By the way, what do you guys think about these new badges? Like people are getting, Shrek Fingers has the #1 badge right now. I think he's still #1. Do I have to where'd my water bottle lid go? Do I have to redo my G2 and G1 if I don't retain my G from 5-year mark that my G1 was issued? Okay. Right now your G1 has been extended. G1 and G2 are both extended until December 31st of this year if it expired on or before March 1st, 2020. So you've been extended till the end of this year. Hopefully you can get at least to the next stage. So if you had a G1 and you get your G2, my understanding, and you'll have to confirm with the people at drivetest.ca, that they'll give you another 5 years. You'll pay for it, but they'll give you another 5 years, as opposed to having to start all over again. So there's the thing. And by the way, for anyone who's in the room, we got about 300 people on TikTok alone. Follow us if you don't already follow us. That way you stay up to date with everything that we do, everything we post, and whenever we go live, you'll be notified. And of course, same goes for folks I was going to say Q, who's currently watching us on Instagram from California. You've been wondering why you haven't heard her. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Okay. Question from Instagram says, how long have you been a police officer? My story is complex. My story is complex because I've been a member of the Toronto Police Service for over 20 years. In fact, 2022, and I started in 2000. I started in 2000, so over 22 years. And what is the story? Well, I started off as a volunteer. I was an auxiliary officer, and I then had so much fun volunteering my time that I wanted to do it full-time. There was a hiring freeze, and I then became a court officer, special constable working in courthouse security and prisoner transportation, and did that for a while. Actually, I did both of those for a long while. I became a supervisor in courts. I became a sergeant within the auxiliary program, and then I traded it all in back in 2012 and became a police constable or a cadet at the time, and of course graduated, became a constable, 4th class, 3rd class, 2nd class, 1st class. Here I am making a lot of noise with my mugs. Let me move my mugs. They're clanging because I keep grabbing the table and knocking it over. So I am, I've been a police officer for over 10 years, and I love it. Now, you might want to join the service, and guess what? We're hiring. You can go to www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. All the information you could want and more about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service as a police officer, as a parking enforcement officer. I believe they're hiring a class really soon there. Becoming an auxiliary as a volunteer. There's also civilian job opportunities. We have a lot of people that make the machine here work, from mechanics to keep our cars running, people who are out of our stores unit that issue equipment. We have people who keep our computers up and running. We have network folks. We have programmers. We have everything under the sun. We're like a little city that needs to run 24/7, and we need good people to do the jobs within the service. So if you have an interest in becoming a member of an amazing community of people who serve the community, a community of people who serve the community, we are the people. The people are the police. The police are the people. Come join us. Okay, let's keep going here. You want to know if I agree with certain laws, how law is to covered that. Someone got scammed through Kijiji. What can I do? I tend not to buy things on Kijiji as a simple way to do it, or I meet people at police stations and buy things there. Big problem with Kijiji and a lot of the different places is there's so many counterfeits. There are so many things. Even I have an addiction. I like to buy different microphones and audio equipment, and there are so many fakes that are coming out of companies, or you can order them through Wish, or what is it called? AliExpress and things like that, and people are buying them and selling them. They're knockoffs. So this is I think it's a $500 microphone. You can buy them. People are selling them for $350. I don't think they're real when they're $350, but who knows? Anyway, I would avoid it. But you can put in a report, but it depends on what the scam was. At very least, you can contact your local police and submit a report. You might be able to do it online, in fact. Okay, is there a special speed in the HOV lane? Absolutely. The special speed is the speed that all roads are on. It's the posted speed. So if you are on a road and the speed limit is 100, in the HOV lanes, guess what? It's 100. That's the special speed. No one's allowed to exceed it, except the police, fire, and ambulance. And that must be for a lawful reason. It has to be part of their lawful duties. It's not just, because I want to go to Tim Hortons. Although many people say that they definitely witness police officers racing to Tim Hortons. I can tell you for one thing for fact, we don't get paid for getting to Tim Hortons faster. We get paid the same whether we get there in 5 minutes or 10. The only time you'll see us going fast is when we have a reason to get somewhere, which is usually to help somebody. Okay. Would it be worth it for me to go to police foundations, or should I do something else in school? I love when we talk about education requirements. Okay. Getting your education is key because you have to have one to join. Now, grade 12 is your minimum, but it's a competitive process. So the more you are educated, the different education that you bring to the game makes you a unique candidate. I always say a great example is accounting. If you were to become an accountant or have a background in accounting or some level of finance studies, you bring something unique to the party. We don't have necessarily an influx of people with accounting backgrounds. Maybe you'll get into financial crimes. Obviously, if you like accounting, don't take accounting if you hate it. Study things you like. Police foundations is great, but there's a lot of people taking police foundations and you want to stand out of the crowd. So take what works for you. You got to enjoy it so you do well with it, so you come here with high marks and look good on paper. And you should be not only looking good on paper, you should be a good candidate. Okay. Someone wants to know if they can buy permission to speed by sending gifts. We don't accept gifts for the police, but good try. Yeah, no speeding. Oh, I forgot to put on our background music. We've been experimenting with background music, and it is FriYay, and as such, we definitely need to have some music in the background. So let's try this lo-fi business background. As I'm reading things, this is again because we're slowing the pace down a little bit, because we are forced to read things slowly in the chat as opposed to having Q&A. Like I keep ripping on TikTok for breaking Q&A. Let me have a look over here because a bunch of people have jumped over onto YouTube, and it was Sean who got scammed, and that's what we were talking about just a moment ago. Chasey wants to know, if I put up a fence and some pylons in my shop parking lot with no public access, can I call it a track and drift? What permit do I need? So let's talk about stunt driving, because that's what we're talking about here. In September 2021, it was September 12th, as a matter of fact, laws came into effect where stunt driving, which was once only enforceable on public property on the highway, was now enforceable on private property. So on your driveway, if you were doing burnouts, but on the 11th of September, we couldn't charge you, but on the 12th, suddenly we could charge you with stunt driving. And the only exemptions that are written into there are for permitted events like the Honda Indy, actually anything Indy related, and also racetracks and go-kart tracks. So no, just putting up a fence and making it not public access is not enough, because it includes parking garages, above ground, below ground, farmers' fields. Like, they are extensive as to how many things are listed as prohibited locations. You'd need to contact your local municipality to inquire about getting a permit that would allow you, because obviously film shoots and different events that are being given or issued permits would be allowed. Now, if you construct a track, you probably could, but I am not capable of telling you, or I do not know what the requirements are to be recognized as a track, and I'm sure there are lengthy requirements. But JC, as always, thank you for contributing and bringing up some good questions. Breezy Pete says, what is this? If I'm not carrying in my car, do I still need to have or show an officer my PAL for their safety? This is a firearms question, and as a firearms owner, and I used to compete, I can give you some information. When you are transporting, not carrying, because you're transporting in a locked container appropriately and as per regulations, separate from ammunition with trigger lock and so on, you don't have to offer us your PAL. If we were looking, if we had concerns, we have a way of searching to see if you're a firearms owner, legal one anyway, and that's a thing. So you don't have to disclose it. If you did have firearms in your car, if there was, I would disclose it just because it's better than things going sideways and someone trying to figure things out. But that's, if you have them, it's best, I think, to say. If you don't have them, there's no reason to, if you're not actually transporting them. Different jurisdictions may have different rules. If you're in the United States, and of course, different laws apply down there. There are obligations in some states to disclose that you have a firearm on you, but that's usually on your person. Regardless, different rules for different things. Know the laws before you do anything. Is there a special speed when using the HOV lanes? We covered that. The speed limit is the speed limit. Okay. Kayla Draconis, did I win the Harley yet? Great opportunity to segue into supporting this fantastic cause, and that is Special Olympics Ontario. We are supporting Special Olympics Ontario by helping them and promoting their raffle, harleyraffle.ca. If you would like to win a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, a 2021 Street Glide, I think it is. I've already forgotten because I haven't looked at the website, and I haven't sat on it recently. I need to go sit on it so I can remember. But it is a beautiful, beautiful motorcycle, and we've been helping them out for a number of years now. They've given away a number of motorcycles, and you can win this year. How do you win? harleyraffle.ca. Check out the website. You can buy them there. 1 ticket for $20, 3 tickets for $50, and you know what? You can also call into the Motor Squad. There's officers who will help you get a ticket. But the easiest is online. Okay. Thank you again, Akila. How does air-patrolled highways give tickets? Anis wants to know. That's a really good question, and many people will not realize that there are many police services that utilize aircraft, and they do that in conjunction with people on the road, because obviously they don't like use a paper airplane to send you the ticket from the air. They haven't figured out how to email tickets that I'm aware of yet. So what they do is there are markings on the roadway, and an officer in the aircraft will time how long it takes you to get from marking 1 to marking 2, and based on that and a little bit of math, they can determine your ground speed. They then relay that information to an officer on the ground who's up ahead, who will then stop you and charge you based on it. So you can do that. We can provide information to a fellow officer, and the other officer can act based on that information. Fantastic question. Never before discussed, I don't think, on the show. So you get points. Someone keep a scoreboard. We need a website that's dedicated to this show and keeping score of awesome questions and answers. And then you can even have a scoreboard for the oopsies if I make a mistake, and then we can cover someone who's a programmer and a web developer. You guys got to get on this. Okay. By the way, we're at 575,160 followers. If you don't already follow us, please do. Always looking for more folks to join the family. Mayor of Toronto, John Tory, was in the building this morning for a press conference. I've recorded it. I'm going to be chopping it up into bits and sharing it on social media later this morning. But I have more followers than him. I say we have more followers, because I think, actually, you know what? I can't look it up because, actually, can I look it up? Yeah, I can. Sure, I can. Let's pull him up for a second. Because we were talking about the fact that we were neck and neck for a long time, and we're not anymore. Mayor John Tory, here we go. John Tory 2022, looking up his account. He has 50,000 followers. Now, he'll do things that I'm not willing to do. He has caved. He's willing to do a dance now and again. I have yet to dance that I'm aware of, on this platform. And I have no intention of starting, I'm just saying. No dancing required. I did a presentation at the Smile Conference last year. It was called No Dancing Required. In my contract, can't dance, sorry. Okay. Big Jeff Fresh. Yes, you were responding to Sean, a different Sean. Okay. We have Fur from Ontario saying, I'm following on TikTok and I have a question. How many cars can you pass at once on a broken passing line? 1 car at a time. I've had a recent discussion, and it was like last year, but recent enough that it was while I was a police officer. We were talking about how many, and I believe, I'll have to confirm, but I believe it is 1 car. Multiple cars is considered dangerous and not lawful. But I will have to double check. And now that I've said it, I'm now totally doubting myself. Do me a favor, DM me. I'm going to look it up. I'll send you back. Maybe we'll just do a video for it right after we do it. I'll record a video. There you go. Akela says, Oh, Caleb bought a Torch Run shirt. Yes, it was the Torch Run yesterday, and again, supporting Special Olympics Ontario. And officers and civilians, members of the service, went out in force and ran with Special Olympians to raise money for their amazing charity, their program that does so much good in the community. Okay. Okay, Fur's going to reach out. Let me get back into the whole TikTok biz of questions that are coming in on that platform. Can a cop... What is the question here? Can a cop leave a construction site to ticket someone, for example, running a red light? So, yes, they can. Although we are also there for a specific purpose. So minor infractions, they're paid by a construction site, or they're paid to control traffic. And if they were to leave that site, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So enforcement isn't what they're doing. I'll give you an example, though. I was once in this situation, and someone almost hit me. They refused to take direction, and they almost drove into me. That person got a ticket, and frankly, they could have gotten arrested. It doesn't change, our authority doesn't change, just the focus of our duties is. If we were paid to do enforcement that in a paid duty capacity while working at a construction site, then we would do that all day. But we're there to control traffic and keep it moving and safe, not to enforce. Now, we could stop the vehicle and have another officer show up and do it, or we could take their information and go serve them after the fact. But again, the focus is of the job is doing the job for who's paying you, and that's not the City of Toronto at that point. Can I drive a Zamboni on the road? It's not road building equipment. I'm going to say no. You can't drive it. It's not a vehicle intended or permitted on the road. It's got spiked tires, right, for the ice, so that would be not permitted on the road either. Okay. How do you think they get gas? Are we talking about Zambonis? I assume on a trailer or by someone bringing them a thing. Anyway. Tax dollars hard at work. Lawless613 says, yes, we are hard at work, educating the public about traffic law and traffic safety and stuff and things. But, you know, I love when people ask this question or throw shade suggesting that we're wasting time here on TikTok. And not only are we on TikTok, we're simultaneously streaming on Instagram Live, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and not only one account, but we're on multiple accounts. And we're growing. We're growing leaps and bounds. This is the best place on earth, as far as I'm concerned, is hanging out with you guys. And it's not hanging out just chilling and talking about my favorite donut, which happens to be a raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme, just saying. I don't want to have one, but that is my favorite. So why is this good? Because right now we're speaking to over 400 people or so right this second, but that's people coming in, coming out, asking a question, and they know that they can come in any day, Monday to Friday, and ask questions because we're here to help. That's our whole reason for doing what we do. It's here to make the road safer, answer questions so that you don't make mistakes and get ticketed when it's totally avoidable because you're choosing to do the right thing when you know the right thing. And if you were confused, or you didn't know, then you can still get a ticket, but how do you prevent things if you're not getting the education? So we're here to help you. That's all it is. That's what we're here for. And so for the folks who think we shouldn't be here, it's easy. Swipe on, don't watch. Okay. Okay. Of course, there are traffic agents who are only authorized to direct traffic, like TTC special constables for traffic control. Yes. So adding into that, but those aren't paid duties. Those are specifically there for a different reason. They can't issue tickets, but they are there and do have the authority of police for the purposes of traffic direction. If you disobey them, police can lay the charge. And we do have situations. We had one that was driven into. Somebody ignored them and drove into them with a car, and that person was charged, and rightfully so. Like that's pretty serious. Okay. Let's see what we got here. My truck was broken into at the airport. Would the airport be liable, or how do I find that out? Generally speaking, when you park your vehicle somewhere, they have a multitude of signs that says not responsible for your vehicle. It's not a secure location. It's just a location. I saw a TikTok, as a matter of fact, where a Park and Fly, they had a truck, I think it was an F-150. The TikTok had them without wheels. They were up on bricks. But I don't believe that there's any liability there. They might have information, they might have video, but I don't think they're liable. I am not a lawyer. I cannot speak to that. I would check with them, and you never know. But I would guesstimate that they're not going to pay you. Questions about motorcycles. It says, what about motorcycles? But I don't know what the first part was. My bike and car are both straight pipe. Well, Logan Jones, you'd be breaking the law if you were here, unless your vehicle was like a Model T, or put on the road before emissions and exhaust were a requirement under the Highway Traffic Act. Or maybe you're just not in Ontario and there's different laws that allow you to do things that you can't do here. What's the fine for having 5% window tint? Depends on which windows we're referring to. So window tint. If the tint you're talking about is the window left and right of the driver, the maximum you can have is 30% light blockage, which means 70% of the light has to actually get through. Now, there's something to know. If the tint is 30%, that's a safety requirement. It's legal for avoiding a ticket of unsafe vehicle. However, if we can't see in, there's a problem because you cannot obscure the interior of your motor vehicle, and it can change. So if it's sunny out one day and we can see in, and then it's dark at night and we can't see in, it's still breaking the law. And the charge of the Highway Traffic Act is obscure interior of motor vehicle. It's obscure interior of motor vehicle with color or reflective coating. I think that's what it is. In any case, it's $110, and if you break that rule, you get a ticket. If you continue to break the rule, you might be summoned to court to explain why you continue to break the rule. It's not a pay-to-play situation. Additionally, if you have window tint on the front windshield at all, you can be pulled off the road for unsafe vehicle. Erin Urquhart is joining us. She's a parking enforcement officer and media relations officer for the service. And there's two screws on either side. If you tighten them, it'll stop moving.
There we go. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Happy FriYay.
FriYay. Wait. I love the buttons. I really do. If you have questions about parking in the City of Toronto, because every municipality is going to have different rules, but if you have City of Toronto parking, and we've got some stuff to talk about because we have a new campaign that's starting, and lots of things for people in the City of Toronto to know about, really important stuff. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But if you do have questions, this is the time, because Erin is not here every time. She's here a lot. We appreciate that you join us so much.
Yes. I enjoy joining. Hello, everyone.
I enjoy joining this. What is this? Okay. Let's just get into it. We gave the little hint, the tidbit. Things are coming in the City of Toronto in terms of parking and things to keep Toronto moving. Oddly enough, that's the name of the campaign.
Yes, keep Toronto moving.
And this is a joint initiative between the Toronto Police Service and the Toronto Police side of things and the Toronto parking side of things. We're both dealing with the issues, and that's where people are choosing to slow down the city by just stopping their cars and doing whatever they want.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, I'm sure other people who have driven throughout the city during rush hour, you realize it is so congested right now, gridlock, and we want to alleviate that gridlock. So rush hour is coming back this Monday, rush hour enforcement. So if you have been parking in the Toronto rush hours within the last 2 years, you probably haven't gotten a ticket, but you will get one this coming Monday, June 27th. We will be starting with ticketing for rush hour, and then following the next week on July 4th, we will be towing. So don't leave your cars in the rush hour.
I imagine that's going to motivate people to change behavior, because I don't think there's anything scarier than coming back and your car ain't there.
That's right. And I see the horror on people's faces after I've towed it, unfortunately. But, that's my job. It's what we have to do, and we want to clear the rush hours. So
I like what the mayor said when he did the press conference this morning. He says, I take no joy in having cars towed. I may be paraphrasing slightly, but he says, I take no joy. And essentially, the goal isn't to ticket you and make money from you. It isn't a goal to take your car and ruin your day. The goal is to make sure that people can get to where they need to go, because it's not about you. It's about everybody. And the roads are a shared resource. And not only are people going to where they got to go, but emergency services vehicles trying to go and help people, save lives, do important work. That's what this is. It's all together.
That's right.
What is this? What happens if my exhaust system rusts off and I need to replace with aftermarket? It sounds like you need to go to the mechanic and have them put on a new, used, or otherwise functional, legal exhaust system. If it rusts off, you are eligible for a ticket, because guess what? You still have to have it even if the car's falling apart, because it's your responsibility to ensure that your vehicle meets the requirements of the of law if you're going to operate it on the road. So yeah, you got to get it fixed. And just like the video I put out this morning about headlights, if your headlight burns out, you're still responsible for it. You might not get a ticket, you might get a warning. That's up to the officer, but you're responsible, and you can receive a ticket for having one headlight burnt out. And people say, well, it just burnt out. Well, did it burn out yesterday, today, this month, last year? When did it burn out? And that ultimately doesn't matter. If it burnt out 30 seconds ago, you're still violating the law if you continue driving with it. So I like to say, bring in an extra light bulb. And I have a pack of taillight bulbs, because I have one pesky taillight that there must be something with the wiring. But since I've had my truck, that left, is it my left side? Left side always burns out faster. In fact, I think I'm on my original light bulb on the right. In any case, I carry light bulbs so I can fix it because I want to have both taillights operating. Oddly enough, you only require legally one functional taillight in Ontario. But I still want to change it, and headlights are no different. What's the legality of privacy glass for a windshield? It's darker from factory, but doesn't have any tint film. Same thing. You can't have, privacy glass from factory is in the rear of the vehicle. So we're talking about tint, and tint applies, the laws are really dictated or enforced when it comes to the front windshield and the windows directly left and right of the driver. Those are the regulated windows. Nothing on the front, 30% light blockage max on the windows left and right of the driver. The windows in the back, you don't have to have windows there. Think about a panel van, a service truck. You don't have to be able to see in the back seat. You have to be able to see in the driver compartment. All right. So yes. Now, if a vehicle had, is it AS2? Someone was telling us some great information, and it might have been a master technician, but PS1 talks about the color and light transmission or clarity of the window. So a PS1 is the clearest glass. So if you look at your windshield and it says PS1, there's no tint on that window. That is my understanding. And you can googly goo that because there's incredible information available on the Googleverse, the Book of Knowledge. It's amazing. Is tint laws for the safety of drivers or police? Tint laws, like why do we need to be able to see in, if that's not what you mean? It's everything. It's for pedestrians, it's for drivers, it's for cyclists, it's for police. It really, if I can't see you, I can't have that nonverbal communication of do you see me? Eye contact is huge. And I've been criticized for suggesting that eye contact is important because in some cultures and some people who have different issues may not want to make eye contact for whatever reason. And that's cool. But for the folks who are capable and able to make eye contact, that's a great way to communicate, and we do it all day long. Even if you don't realize it, you're looking at people's eyes, and when that you either have that uncomfortable look where they're looking at you and you've communicated. But yeah, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. Tracy says, "Hey, Aaron."
Hello. I saw her say
did
hi.
You say
yes.
that? Are U-turns illegal? U-turns can be illegal. They are considered one of the most dangerous or high-risk maneuvers because, first of all, whenever you perform a U-turn, you are taking full responsibility for everything that happens. You must ensure as part of U-turn that you do it safely. So if you don't do it safely, and guess what? If you end up becoming involved in a collision, you did it unsafely because it wouldn't have happened if it was safe. See where I'm going with this? So you can do a U-turn if it's not signed otherwise. So if there's a sign saying no U-turn, that's 150 meters beyond the sign. You can't make a U-turn. Additionally, if you are making a U-turn, you have to think about where you are. If it's on a crest of grade where you can't see on the other side, it's prohibited. If it's on a curve where you can't see where the traffic's coming from, it's prohibited. If it's in front of a railway crossing, depends on if it's with a curve or without a curve, but it's 30 meters away or more, depends. If it's in front of a bridge, viaduct, tunnel, all those things, those are prohibited areas. And of course, the sign we talked about. You know what? Use a driveway. Use a parking lot. Use a number of right turns and go around the block, but I would avoid, unless absolutely unavoidable, a U-turn. Just not worth it because bad things happen every day and lives are lost for simple and silly things. Think about where you'd be hit if you were making a U-turn. Broadside, if you're T-boned, you're the most vulnerable when you're in a side impact collision. Yeah, they put some newer cars have side airbags, but you have the least amount of metal between you and the car that's hitting you. So, and you're the one who's going to get hit at the lowest speed with the highest impact. Anyway, it's a bad day at the office. Okay. If the vehicle is before 2017, the car's front windshield can have a sunstrip, and then Cody is absolutely right. If you have a vehicle manufactured before January 1st, 2017, you can have 3 inches or 75 millimeters, which is the same, at the top of the windshield. It's from the top of the windshield to the PS1 line, whatever happens first, and that is legal. Newer vehicles, again, you can't have anything, and I don't even like the look of sunstrips. I think it looks kind of gross. But that's just me. I just don't like it. It's a personal thing. But it's not legal for anyone with a new car to do that. What is this? Hiring officers from a visible minority to maintaining a relationship with the locals. We are possibly the most diverse place on earth, the Toronto Police Service or any police service. We hire people because they're good candidates. We recruit from all different neighborhoods and backgrounds and languages. We are people from the community serving the community. So if you are a member of any community, you should apply because we need people from everywhere. What we got? I'm kind of digging the music today. It's very Buddha Bar. I like Buddha Bar. Can you walk into the drive test center and take the G2 without booking it before? My understanding is you need to book it. I imagine you could hang out there all day and hope for a cancellation. I would call. I would never just show up and do it. That's just me. I have been well trained into the belief that everything that must be booked over the last 2 years, and I never assume that there's just going to be a waiting list. But I also don't like waiting. So if I don't have to wait, I choose not to. I like this curbside pickup business too. But you can't do that for your G2. Just sit in your car. Bring me my license. Okay. Are Uturns illegal in Alberta? I haven't the foggiest. I have no idea. If you were to check with our friends in Brooks, Alberta, the RCMP detachment, their TikTok is called Safe Communities. Fabulous folks, Josh and friends. Yeah, check them out. They do lives too. They do all sorts of great stuff. They're in a different a zone of time. Yes. The tint came from factory at 35%. That is colored. If your vehicle was sold in Ontario, 35% light blockage, it couldn't be sold here. It would be prohibited. It would be breaking the rules. It couldn't be safety. It couldn't be put on the road. Do you know that mechanics have tint meters on their vehicle, like for testing vehicles, for that very reason, because they can't certify a vehicle if they're following the rules with tint that is darker than the 30%? Yeah. Amazing. Does Toronto Police get asked to help with traffic planning, the Pope's visit in other parts of the country? So no. So basically with IPPs, internationally protected persons, they liaise with the local authorities, RCMP, the provincial police, and wherever they're going, and then the municipal police as well. So if he's coming to Toronto, then our motor squad will be heavily involved with planning and effectively moving them, these strategic moves throughout the city for safety. And what do we got here? Boom, boom, boom. How does pacing work with getting a speeding ticket? It's real simple. We pace you. What does pacing mean? It means we take our vehicle and follow you at the same distance. So if I'm behind you or beside you, regardless, if I'm doing the same speed as you, I'm not accelerating or decelerating, I'm not gaining or on you and off while falling back, then I follow you for a period of time. I can establish what your speed is based on my observations of my speedometer. And that is a fully legitimate way to determine the speed of another motor vehicle. Undercover cop cars are tint exempt. I don't know. So there's no rule that says undercover cop cars are tint exempt, but an undercover police car is undercover. You'd never know it's a police car. So it's undercover, deep cover, the person's not identifying as a police officer. They're just a car with tinted windows. And actually police officers pulling them over would probably not know that they're police officers because they're undercover. What is this? Reason for the... Okay, I'm reading in the wrong order. Let me scroll. I was going from newest to oldest for a second. What do we got here? Anything interesting that you're seeing now, Erin?
Yeah, this person's just asking me how they can fight a ticket. I'm like, I can't tell you. First of all, it's not about beating or fighting a ticket. It's about whether the city decides what they want to do, whether, you're pleading guilty with an explanation and they reduce your fine. It's never... you're going to get the ticket canceled. That doesn't happen
Is that
very often.
Specific now? Or?
Well, no, that's through the city of Toronto, and I can't speak to how, they operate, but from just my knowledge that I've heard and from tickets that I have appealed myself and with my personal vehicle, because shocker, I have gotten a ticket or two in my lifetime. But
parking tickets, right?
I have never gotten pulled over by police ever for speeding or any sort of infraction.
That's good to know.
Yes, so I'm very proud to say that. Knock on wood, nothing ever happens. I don't speed.
You don't break the law.
I don't. I don't speed, and I'm mostly on my bike anyways. So, But yeah, it's just follow the instructions on the back of the ticket and give your explanation and why you think you should get your ticket reduced, and the city will decide. It's in their hands.
Yeah, that's a parking specific thing. For actual tickets for POA offenses when it comes to the Highway Traffic Act, you can go to court and you can do a number of things. You have options. You can have a meeting with a prosecutor, and they may give you an option. Say, you know what, I'll give you a deal right now. I'll reduce the speed, and if you plead guilty, we'll take care of it right now. That's something they can do. If you don't like the offer that they're making in a first appearance, what is it called, a first appearance, or is it called something else? I think it's first appearance with a prosecutor. And then if you decide that you don't like that, you're not obligated to that offer. You can go to court. Court might say, okay, we're going to give you this offer. You can choose to continue to a trial or not. And unfortunately, a lot of people just play the game to see if they can get it reduced. And listen, everyone's got a right to go to court. But if you're really guilty, I think it's a waste of taxpayers' money. That's me. Just, someone trying to get a reduction. But hey, what can I say? If you are then going to court and you're found guilty, and regardless of whether it's because you made a deal or not, you can always ask for financial assistance in that they will say, okay, it's $100. Can you pay $100? If you can pay right there in court. If you can't pay today, if you have financial issues, you can ask for time to pay. They could say, okay, you have 6 months to pay. You can pay regularly or one lump sum by this date. And if you don't, you're going to have problems. But they do have all sorts of great things that they can do to help, because the goal is to change behavior, but they're not trying to be monsters. Okay. Why is it okay for a Jeep to drive without doors, but I'm not allowed to drive without a front plate? Those have nothing to do with one another at all whatsoever. That's like saying, how come a convertible can be a convertible? It's the same thing. License plates are mandated for your vehicle in Ontario. If you don't want to have a front plate, move somewhere else. That's really the deal, because you have to conform to the rules of where you live. And that's it. It's simple. Doors are not a requirement for a Jeep. It was designed to operate without doors. If you don't want to have doors, buy a Jeep. Or you can buy a Bronco. It's another no-door product. Or Humvees. You can take the doors off of Humvees. Can you still get the Humvees aren't manufactured anymore. I would like a Humvee. And now, oddly enough, a huge vehicle, not very roomy inside. Just giant transmission. Okay. I've driven a couple of Humvees. I think they're awesome. I would love to have one, but it's not a comfy car or a truck. I can't call it a car. Utility vehicle, maybe it's more appropriate. Okay. Who do I call if I see debris on the highway? Well, OPP is probably a good place to start, because they will be able to activate road crews and possibly have police attend. I have routinely been sent to debris in the road, because what people do is they swerve to avoid it and cause collisions. So it is an urgent matter. And I have these wonderful flashing lights in my police car, although I'm not on the road anymore. But when I was on the road, I was able to safely slow down and block traffic so that I could do that. Maybe it would take multiple vehicles to do that. Maybe I'd activate Toronto road crews who have multiple vehicles standing by as an emergency process to shut down lanes for the purpose of getting things off. Depends on what it is, and evaluate it. But you can call and Star OPP or 911, depending on where you are. That is something urgent. Yeah. But don't tweet us. I often get Twitter messages saying, "Hey, something's broken, something's fixed, something needs attention," and I love it. It's great. And it's convenient for everybody else. But we don't monitor our TikTok, our Twitter, any of our social media 24/7. Yeah, very often it's in my pocket. But I am, if I'm not looking at it when I'm live with you guys, I'm not looking at it when I'm in a meeting. So if it's something urgent, please don't send us DMs, because DMs are long down the food chain. It's usually me in the bathroom when I have time. If I'm responding to you at night, I might be in the bathroom. Just saying. Okay. If you get a traffic ticket, does the officer have 7 days to file the ticket? We have a processing system in place, and I believe it's 10 days. I think it's 10 days total, with all things. But the truth is, it's all electronic now. It's all instantaneous, and it really doesn't take very long anymore. But there is a time frame. I believe it's 10 days. But 7 days, you know what? I doubt myself. It was something that meant more when it was paper, because there was a process of having them physically picked up and dropped off and filed and alphabetized, and yeah. Does TPS hire crime analysts newly graduated from college? That would be a great question for our employment unit. I know we were hiring a crime analyst or had crime analyst positions recently. I don't know if they're still open. But check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. We're hiring all sorts of jobs. And you know what? If we're not hiring crime analysts today, we might be hiring them tomorrow. And maybe crime analysts want to become volunteers with the police service. You can do that too. Nothing says you can't volunteer. What do we have here? Chasey says, many new BMWs have factory exhaust valves that automatically open and close depending on your acceleration. How is this legal? It's not track mode. I don't know. And I don't know where it is in the exhaust system. If it's sold in Ontario, it must be something that has met the grade, or maybe we should be investigating the BMW. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't know enough about that to tell you why or why not. Maybe it's a stepped system. Maybe they have different things. If they're avoiding the muffler or if they're avoiding the emission systems, they wouldn't be permitted here. They wouldn't be able to be sold. And they jump through major hoops to ensure that they have, most of the stuff that they put on these vehicles is so they can be sold. It's not because they want them to, they don't want to spend extra money to do these things. They'd love to give you a vehicle that doesn't have to conform, but they do. What is this? Oh, somebody is suggesting that I'm not allowed to answer certain questions about suspending traffic enforcement. I have no idea what you're talking about. We don't suspend traffic enforcement. We are very heavily enforcing traffic offenses. In fact, you talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team, which is a team dedicated, launched, that does nothing but enforcement. They go out there and hammer. They are there to change driver behavior, and they do it one ticket at a time. No hugs, no warnings. So there's not. Who sent that? Opma. Yeah, you're just wrong. Okay. What is this? All right. Let's see what's going on here. 10:48. Do you know where your children are? When was the last time you heard that on TV?
I just remember that. Well, I'm probably too young for that, but they did a little play on that on a Simpsons episode where it's like, it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? And Homer yells at the TV, I told you last night, no.
You know, I gotta start watching.
I'm a huge Simpsons nerd.
Really? I've never watched it with my kids, and I want to, but I don't think my wife wants me to.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe not so appropriate for your little kids, but I watched it when I was a kid.
Yeah, and look at you now.
Look at me now. I think I turned out all right.
Yeah, well, it depends who you ask, I guess. Okay, what is this? We have... you might be watching and have no idea who I am. And you may not know who you're listening to, so let me reintroduce myself. Is that a song? Am I hearing this? That's a trend. Let me reintroduce myself. And anyway.
I feel like
there's like a song that's in my head, and maybe that's why I said that. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. I am on social media. Why? Because I want to help you. Yeah, really, that's the reason why. We're here to help you answer your questions. Try through education to make the roads safer for everybody. You know, roads are a shared resource. Everyone's on them. People you care about use them. It's not just you. And when things go wrong, they tend to impact communities. So I'm trying to save the world one TikTok question at a time. Joining me on the microphone, but not on camera, is Erin Urquhart. She is a parking enforcement officer and media relations officer. You can also follow her, and her account is TPS_Bikehart, not Urquhart, as I had misstated once before, although I say so much stuff, it's hard to not twist it all together. You can also watch the main parking account and this is on all platforms. You can also get it on Parking TPS, which really bugs me because I want to call it TPS Parking. I don't know why it's backwards.
I know. I just kept it aligned with all the other
well, it makes
socials,
sense.
right?
When one person makes a mistake, everyone has to follow.
I didn't make that account.
I'm not accusing you, but somebody, yeah. Okay. What?
What is CMV enforcement? That
commercial motor vehicle.
Oh, okay. Yes, there we go.
Come on, you don't know all the acronyms? Police
No,
is full
I
of
don't.
acronyms. And CVSA. We usually say CVSA.
Okay.
Zipper merge. Explain for people, please. That's Tell Me Why 1980 asking. And I am happy to discuss it because if we all zipper merged, the world would be a better place. It would probably mean peace on earth. Essentially, what happens right now is that one person decides that they are going to stop and wait until someone lets them in or until they can, wedge their way into the next lane over, and it disrupts traffic horribly. Zipper merging is where people utilize all available space, and at the end, like a zipper, they start staggering. Every other car gets in, and 2 lanes become 1. It's where things are efficient. You can Google this. You can find videos. There are studies that explain it. It is effective driving. It is also cooperative in that nobody wants to hurl things at you or yell obscenities at you when you are obstructing traffic. Nothing bothers me more than when there is 500 feet of lane ahead of you before it ends, and people decide now at the beginning of that, 500 feet away from the end, that's where they're going to make their change, and they're going to take a stand and stop. Use all available space. Everything you do cascades and ripples down to other people. It just really messes with traffic. And as we talk about this campaign about keeping Toronto moving, that's one of the things we should talk about. So I'm going to talk about zipper merging, because tell me why I brought it up, and I think it's brilliant. So thank you very much. You are you are an asset to our community. I appreciate you. Absolutely. Ada Girl says, good morning, all. Is this still morning? Yeah, it is still morning.
Almost. Also, we figured out the song you were talking about. It is by Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
You got a Jay-Z song reference.
I'm not an anything current music song. I'm still stuck in the 80s. I grew up, I DJ'd. I'm not a radio DJ, but I did DJ like high school stuff and bar mitzvahs. So I used to play stuff that is no longer current. And I'm still...
Well, the 80s are back.
Hey.
Kate Bush is like in the top billboards right now.
I was listening to an interview with her. That was amazing.
That's thanks to Stranger Things, though, I believe.
I do not watch Stranger Things. I've yet to see it.
Oh, great show.
Really?
You got to get into that.
I'm going to have to check it out. There's so much television that I want to watch. I couldn't even get through. I'm watching Miss Marvel on Disney.
Oh, I've heard of that. I'm not into Marvel, clearly, as we had our conversation earlier, and I got penalized for not being a Star Wars fan.
Well, that's not. You just called Star Wars Marvel. What's going on?
Well, Disney, The Mandalorian, right?
Yes. So we were chatting after the press conference, and the superintendent was there, and we were just chatting about what's going on, and somehow we got onto Star Wars and Star Trek. We might have a Trekker in the building that I'm going to try and bring onto the show and talk about their Trekkiness. But so Miss Marvel is on Disney. It is a Marvel entity, and this is a young woman who is doing some super cool stuff, and my house is all about girl power because I have girls, and we're having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the show.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the reason I brought that up is I can't even watch one episode because bedtime comes so early. So it's just like, we watched 15 minutes. Yes, we're going to watch the rest of it tomorrow. And nothing makes me happier than to interrupt a single episode and make it into 3.
Okay.
Because I don't like to watch things in whole, right? I like to watch it incrementally.
Oh, yes.
I can't. I don't want to interrupt anything. I don't want to go to the bathroom in a movie. Like I'm very particular about my movie watching. So what was Stranger Things? One day, by the time I retire, I will have watched this show that everyone's talking about. But music. I still like music. I still like music that I was listening to when I was in grade 4. I remember listening to Miss Allen's record. Miss Allen was my grade 4 teacher. She had I think it was a single or maybe it was the full album, and it was what was it? Now it's escaping me. It's Don't Mess Around with Nose. It was Don't Mess Around with Jim. I can't even think of the artist now. Oh my God, I'm having a moment. Okay, anyway, grade 4. I still love the music. Okay. Apparently, I'm a creature of habit and things like that. What do we got here? We got someone trying to call me and interrupt my live stream. Thanks a lot. I got to turn off. I got to make it so things don't ring. I should have put it in privacy mode. Ace of Base. Master Technician is listening to Ace of Base. Absolutely. Maybe we should have like an after work show talking about music.
Yeah.
Like an off-duty mix-up of stuff. Who made a comment that was great? It said, I got to go back. I got to find it. Where is it? It was something to the effect of brow strips were the bee's knees back when underglow was cool.
Lots of buttons today.
I like the buttons. Okay. It's tricky to rock around. Yeah. Run DMC. Oh, okay. Well, it's Sean Murphy coming with that 19. I'm assuming that's a 1976 that was moved around, so you can appreciate the music of my youth. So much great music, and new music is it less good? I wouldn't know because I don't think I've ever heard it.
I understand when like I was younger and my parents were like, this is what you listen to, and now because like now I'm getting to that age where I'm like, all the new stuff. Like I'm not a fan. I just stick to the music that I like.
Did you just try and like sound like like Granny?
No.
When I was a little
when I was a youngin', no. But I personally, I don't listen to a lot of the top 40 stuff anymore. A couple. I like pop. I like the new pop stuff. But
okay.
Anyways, I found a question here for you that I thought would be good to answer for you.
I like answering questions. I don't know why.
Do motorcycles ever get confiscated? Do they end up on police auctions? If so, where can I buy?
So we have motorcycles that we do auction, and those are retired police motorcycles. Everything we have that's an asset when it is sold, we don't sell it privately. We auction them off, I guess, to avoid favoritism and deals. But the deal is that you can purchase retired police equipment that way, but when it comes to motorcycles that are seized, whether it be those are seized and impounded, eventually those would be auctioned off. But when we see something for like stunt driving, that goes back to the owner there, or the tow company that is trying to recover its fees. Like if someone gets it impounded and they can't pay the fees for it, then the towing company can sell it off to pay for those fees. But I don't think it happens very often. I don't know it doesn't, but I don't believe that it happens. Certainly we don't seize things like motorcycles to punish people and then sell their assets. Doesn't happen here. Maybe in the States it does. I've seen police services in the States who will take drug dealers' cars and put police lights on, like Lamborghinis with the police lights. That was, I think, big in Florida for a while, which was really cool police cars. I wouldn't fit in though, but they're cool. Beastie Boys. Yes. Are yellow on-off ramp signs... Here's a good question. Okay. Are yellow on and off ramp signs enforceable speed limits or just strong suggestions? So those are the suggestions based on engineering folks saying that that's when your vehicle will likely stick to the road. Beyond that, it might not. The white signs are regulated, and those are the actual signs, the actual speeds. But I like to take the good advice of people with big degrees that design things. I think it's important. What is this? That's in Dubai. They have high-end sports cars. Oh, yes. So in Dubai, but they didn't seize those, I don't think. I think those were purchased because I actually looked at this. I think they have Rolls Royce. They have Bentley police cars.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I've seen the Bentleys. I know in the UK they have BMWs.
Well, everything's a BMW. Yeah, taxis or Mercedes.
Everything's a BMW or Mercedes over in the UK, but that's Bentleys. Woo! Well,
yeah, there's everything under the sun. Absolutely. Master Technician says, can U.S. law enforcement operate in Canada? Depends on what you mean operate. So can a police officer, can we carry a gun into the States when we visit there for a reason? Can they do the same? So it depends on what, if they're just coming on vacation, no. If they are working on something here and given bestowed powers, then potentially it all depends. Everything is going to be, Master Technician says they were seized vehicles in Dubai. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I just saw lots of very cool cars. And you've added to my story. My knowledge has grown. What is this? So the areas that have yellow speed limit signs, like in an Autobahn in Canada. No, they're not like an Autobahn in Canada. You're still regulated by the road sign, the actual road sign. So if it's 100, which is an actual maximum speed on the 401, then the ramp, you can't exceed the 100 either. Generally speaking, we're not doing speed enforcement on a hairpin turn because that would be very dangerous. But the people who go above the yellow very often go off the road, and it's a self-correcting problem. It's a long story. They're abandoned. Oh, yes. Okay. So Vehicle Valley is saying that they're seized, but it's because they're abandoned. I've seen a number of articles all about these supercars just collecting dust. People just stop paying for them and leave. And these cars are just hanging out everywhere.
Someone asked a question. I answered it in the chat, but I'll talk about it here. How can I help educate people on parking in a handicapped spot when they don't place their card? Well, I answered, call us and we'll give them a lesson.
Yes.
With a $450 ticket.
Absolutely.
But if you are just, trying to be a good Samaritan, good citizen, maybe if you see someone parking and they don't have the permit, say, hey, that's not meant for you, and it is a very expensive ticket if you leave your car there.
And that could, I would actually not suggest that for one reason. Those conversations can very often escalate. And I've seen some pretty nasty videos online where people get in your face because you're telling them to do the right thing. Now, I tend to operate that way, but I have a badge in my pocket, and even if I'm off duty, I tend to have no problem telling people what the rules are. I don't know why. I may just film a TikTok right there. But the truth is that the average person probably doesn't want to deal with the interaction because it could go south. So online, www.torontopolice.on.ca/core, there is a place where you can make immediate parking complaints on that page. And you can also call parking services. But I think the online form is probably the easiest and fastest to just, set it, forget it, move on. But yeah, I have a very strong feeling about the people who abuse those spots that are needed by people who need them. People who have disabilities, people who have accessibility issues, who have wheelchairs, who have a variety of reasons why they would be given that pass. They need them, you don't. You walk. Or at the very least, make sure. You know what you could do? I think, to what Aaron was saying about having the conversation, you could say, hey, you forgot to put your pass out.
And
then leave it at that. Like, don't push it. Just, at least say, I'm judging you. Yeah, that's what I would do.
People are making not so smart suggestions in the chat, but they're just kind of funny. I think they're just being playful, I hope. Someone who asked the question, they're like, I've seen videos where the people have used silly string on their cars.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing to do.
That's your sort of
criminal
vandalizing.
Yeah, I wouldn't
vandalizing
go there. Not a good idea. 575,182 followers. If you're not already a follower, please join us. Make the numbers rise. I spent far too much time trying to make that TV function, but even to the point where I've got a phone that a dedicated phone, because I couldn't get my Apple TV to work on our network, but I have a dedicated phone that is going to one day put the ticker right there so you can see it and make it move. Anyway, it has been an absolute slice. Happy FriYay. Have a great weekend. If you are going to Pride this weekend, happy Pride. Well, happy Pride anyway.
Yeah, I'll be out there tomorrow.
Are you? If you are celebrating, if you're going to be at the parade, I won't be. I was. For all of the time I was an auxiliary officer, and for a few years as a police officer, I was out volunteering every Pride. Open to close. I have never had so much fun with so many great people. The vibe is so good there.
Yes.
And I occasionally got really embarrassed by some very kind comments, and woofs. I heard a lot of woofs, but you know what? I really appreciate it. It was a good time. I hope everyone has a safe weekend, and we'll be back on Monday.
Yep, and park legally, drive sober, as you always say, and have fun this weekend. It's going to be lots of exciting. The Jazz Fest is going on this weekend too, like in multiple areas of the city. So lots of fun, exciting stuff in Toronto. And rush hour is starting up Monday. Remember that.
We will be talking about it, and I will post some videos, and we will put some static stuff up. But at the end of the day, drive sober, drive safe, no drugs, no alcohol. We want you to be around. We want you to stick around. We want you to be safe and healthy and healthy and safe. Yeah, that's what my wife says to my kids: happy, healthy, safe. And you know what? It's great advice. With that, we bid you adieu.
Have a good Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.